My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. You've heard of developments, you've heard of affordable housing, you might have even heard of factory-built homes. But how about combining all of these together? Well, Keith Miller, zooming in, believe it or not, from Montana, not from San Francisco, that's exactly what he does. He focuses on development deals and factory-built houses, and he's working in the affordable space to provide more affordable housing for Americans. So, Keith, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Thanks for having me, Dave. I appreciate it.
So I kind of bubbled my way through an introduction there. You can do a way better job of explaining what you do. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about what kind of developments that you're doing and where they tend to be located.
Yeah. So we are focused on ground up development using factory built homes. And so, for example, we've got a recently approved project in Great Falls, Montana, and that's pretty indicative of sort of our buy box. And so it's 163 homes. And what we're doing is going in, it's bare dirt currently. We'll put in the infrastructure, and then we'll put in the homes. And these are factory built homes on permanent foundations and ownership lots. And so fundamentally, it's more of a single family home development than anything else, because we're providing the ownership of the land underneath the homes. And then we're selling those homes to our end buyers at a much more attainable price than is possible with a regular stick built home, also at a much accelerated timeline. And so that's sort of the niche that we're focusing on at this point.
So some folks have kind of a negative association when it comes to factory built homes. They think modular homes. They think these things that kind of look like mobile homes on a pad kind of thing. What do your homes look like? What are these days in 2025? What does a factory home actually look like and feel like and consist of?
Yeah, I mean, the simple answer is it looks just like a site-built home. And that's sort of like, that's the niche that we're focused on is, 2-section homes that have a steeper roof pitch than a typical manufactured homes. They all have either front porches or an attached garage. They're all Energy Star certified. They're all going to have LP lap siding or better, like hardy board, for example. And they're all just going to look good. Like that's the kind of difference that the homes of today can look like. They're not the 1976 single wides with tin siding that you think of, and that's the sort of the mindset shift that is required. But it's actually quite simple. All you really need to do is get people in the front door to actually see what these homes look like. It's the same 2x6 external walls. It's the same roof joists. Like fundamentally, these homes are not any different than what you can stick build. They can just build them at a much better and faster price.
Cool. And how about from the outside? Do people, even if they're not in the know, would they even realize that this is a factory built house?
Yeah, they really don't. And it's really interesting talking to other developers doing this across the country. Yeah. And they typically, have to tell potential buyers about it because the buyers aren't realizing on their own. And so it's like, it's not something we're gonna be hiding, but it's you literally don't even have to bring it up at first, because it's looking at these homes you would never notice.
Plus, it's this beautiful. So it's no longer an objection that has to be overcome. You don't have to kind of apologize for the way this thing looks and explain that it's very efficient, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So from a end consumer point of view, we're calling this affordable housing. What is the difference in price, comparing apples to apples, like a factory built home compared to that same home built traditionally? What would be like the price difference on that?
Yeah. So I would say it's both price and timing, because that plays an important role in your development costs. But fundamentally, I mean, around $70,000 less than a site built home in this specific market. Although I can tell you that the difference between the homes we're building and a median new home, that gap actually gets bigger the more expensive home. There's a more expensive market you're at. So for example, like a place like Bend, Oregon, like there's hundreds of thousands of dollars of difference between what we could build a home at and what the sales price can end up being, because the cost of the cost of construction is so much higher in those higher price markets. And so we're certainly starting in Great Falls, but we're especially eyeing, projects 2, 3, 4 to be in these higher price markets, because that there's even a larger delta there.
Very cool. So maybe walk me through, compare and contrast the development time cycle, you guys doing a development versus traditional developers building from the ground up from scratch kind of thing. What is
Yeah. So I think the best metaphor to think of is if you were buying a new home and Ford, you're buying a Ford truck and they drop off a truck frame in your driveway. And then one by one, 12 different subcontractors come and slowly build the car, all else expose the elements. And that's kind of what site building is. And it's typically going to take, 8 to 12 months. It's going to be expose the elements, so that lumber is going to be getting wet. And compare and contrast that to a factory built home in a factory. Lumber is dry. All the subcontractors are on the same team. It's typically built in about 8 weeks. So you're done in 2 months. And what's nice is during that time, you can also be prepping the site. You can be pouring the foundation. You can be doing some preliminary landscaping, all to get ready, so that as soon as that home is ready, you're able to get it finished at a much faster rate than you typically would with a site built home.
Hey there, if you're a capital raiser, a syndicator, or a fund manager, and you're looking for a steady flow of incoming accredited investor leads, then go ahead, grab a free copy of my new book, How to Get 20 Accredited Investor Meetings Every Month Without Cold Calling, Networking, or Chasing People. You can get that at 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com. Again, that's the number 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com. So there's the time to build it in the factory. At the same time, you're preparing the site. Let's say that all miraculously happens at the same time, which probably does. You guys have got this dialed in. So when you bring the house out to the site, how long does it take to get that live-in ready?
Typically it takes a crew about a week. Obviously there's some cushion time in there. It gets to the site in 1 to 2 days. It takes about a week to set it. If everything is ready to go, we're obviously building in some cushion there, and then the final landscaping to get it ready, and that's pretty much it. Like it is just that significantly cuts down on your holding costs and the interest payments that you're paying on your construction loan, which is really nice.
So maybe compare and contrast an entire development deal, this versus what other guys that are building from the ground up are looking at time-wise to do. You're talking about, I think, 168 property project that you're working on. What would that look like traditionally versus what you guys are anticipating?
Yeah, it's to put it simply, you can shave 3 to 4 years off of the timeline for a full build out, just because you're able to meet demand so much faster. Mm-hmm. And what it boils down to is that your only real constraint is the speed of sales, finding buyers. And that's also why we're dumping $100,000 into marketing to make sure that that's being covered. But you're just not constrained by your construction time nearly as much with a development of this type.
So with a development like you guys are doing, how many, in your experience, to really get the ball rolling with sales, how many houses need to be built out so consumers can kind of go in there and say, oh, something's happening here, and looking up, where does it really start to pick up speed?
Yeah. Eight is the plan with us. And so we'll have 3 model homes, one of those being like the sales office. And those will be, fully furnished and looking amazing. And then we'll have 5 spec homes that aren't well done, but empty. And so that if somebody wants to come in and buy a home fast and close quickly, like for example, somebody just got transferred to the military base a mile away, they can close a lot more quickly. But if somebody wants to customize their home, get it exactly what they want, get the garage they want, all those things, then it'll be a 3 to 4 month timeline for somebody like that. It kind of just depends on what that person is looking for.
Yeah, so much faster than traditional. It's mind boggling. That is really, really cool, Keith. Now, in your experience, when you've done these kind of development deals, how many houses are typically getting worked on at the same time? And do you use multiple factories, or does the same factory is able to crank out 6, 8, 10 houses at a time? What's the capacity?
They're typically the factories that we're working with are typically building about 20 a month. So they've got the capacity to go more, and we're going to be keeping our options open with a couple of factories just to make sure that, one of them is really bunched up. We can always shift to another one to keep our options open.
So just logistically, how does that work? Do these factories have to be pretty close to the site? Are you shipping these houses across multiple state lines? How does that side of things work?
Yeah. We're about 530 miles from a couple of factories. Okay. Although it's interesting, there's the factory prices are entirely dependent on where they are. And so I was talking to, for example, a California developer. He ships his homes from Indiana because obviously that's a pretty significant distance, but the cost of those homes in Indiana is a huge hub of both manufactured homes, RVs, and so they've got a significant industry there that he's still saving on his homes, even driving them across the country. It's pretty incredible.
Well, especially with the price he's able to charge for them in California, I'm sure.
I bet that's part of it too.
Yeah, very, very interesting. So, Keith, how did you kind of come across this business model, and how long you've been doing it for?
Yeah. So my partner and I have been doing infill developments for a while now. And when COVID hit, it was incredibly hard to find construction workers. We were, my partner has been at GC for 25 years, and that was the hardest time it had ever been for him, even being experienced and having all the contacts built up. And so we just started, trying to figure out, like, there's got to be a better way to do this that, cuts down on the cost of construction. And not just that, but like actually can get a home built. Because, for a while there, it was like, the subs were running the show, and it was so hard to even get them to show up, even paying inflated prices. And so, like, we're just, we went back to the drawing board. It's like, okay, there's got to be a better way to do this. And so I've been, digging into that and doing this full time for 3.5 years now, just, understanding these homes inside and out. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Is this the first big project that you're working on, or have you guys done
first project of this size that we've done? Correct. Yep.
Yeah. How did you kind of first get your feet wet with it? What kind of doing, like a little onesie twosie infill development type thing?
Yeah, smaller stuff. And my partner has done the subdivisions. I have another partner actually on this project is a civil engineer that's been doing subdivisions for 20 years now, and so we understand that part of it, and I have done manufactured homes, and now we're sort of putting those two things together.
Well, it sounds wonderful, but things are never all sunshine and roses. What are some of the downsides to factory built homes or this business model, perhaps?
Yeah. I think the stigma, as we've talked about a little bit, is I think one of the largest hurdles to get over, and that's we're addressing that by getting the homes on the ground as soon as possible so people can see, touch, and feel them. Spending a lot on marketing, as well as a lot of developers will try to chop down the buyer's agent fees. And we're leaving those at 2.5%. We really want to incentivize buyers to bring in, buyers agents to bring us their buyers, and and I think a reasonable incentive is a great way to do that.
Yeah, no, that's smart. Not being chintzy on that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
very, very cool. So right now, as we're recording this, it's the end of 2025. Yeah. Where do you see things going in the new year at 2026?
Oh man, yeah, the crystal ball question. Rates.
Let's put it this way: wave that realistic magic wand. Where would you like to see it go?
Yeah, if rates continue to go downward, that's going to be good. That seems to be the trend line. Obviously, nobody has a true crystal ball. I think when the spring season hits and there's the rates have come down significantly, I hope they'll be below 6% by the end of the winter, and I think that's going to really. I think demand is going to come back significantly with the dropping of rates, and a lot of people are still locked into those homes that they've had for a long time, but eager to start moving again when rates come down. So I think that's going to be the key. Yeah.
Who is the main demographic that are buying these homes?
Yeah, so there's two. It's young families and seniors looking to move down. And so because that's one of the benefits. These are all single level homes. And so it's good for seniors that are, stuck in their big 4-bed, 2-bath that just doesn't fit them anymore, as well as young families. We're actually right not even across the street. We're literally adjacent to elementary school. So kids can walk without even crossing any streets, which is pretty great.
Oh, that is great. Very, very cool. Now, when it comes to doing projects these size, when you guys are doing them, are you starting from finding the land, getting things rezoned and do it like from scratch? Or do you kind of buy Are you looking for properties that are already
we're focused on, starting from the very beginning. That's sort of our specialty is finding land, analyzing it well, getting community on board. And that, it's when you're bringing a product that's attainably priced for sale homes for young families and seniors, like that's a fairly compelling argument for cities.
They'd look pretty bad if they said no to that. That's
yeah,
for sure.
Exactly. Like we literally didn't even have a single vote against us in all of our public meetings, which was pretty exciting. Yeah.
Beautiful. So there's a lot of capital involved with that. That's pretty capital intensive. What do you guys do for that? Are you raising private capital or what goes on there?
Yep. So we do have that Great Falls opportunity available for investors, and so putting in our own capital, obviously, but raising both from individuals and family offices at this time. Yep.
Very cool, Keith. This has been great. Congratulations on really kind of kicking this up to the next level. It sounds like you've taken some serious time to research this. You started small, then you found this big project. Now you're rolling it out. So that's awesome, man. So congratulations on that. Keep up the good work. We need more attainable, affordable housing like that. And it just makes so much sense. If people are interested in connecting with you and finding out more, where should they go?
Yeah. Just check us out at upslopegroup.com.
Perfect. Keith, thanks for being on the show, man.
Great. Thanks so much for having me, Dave. I appreciate it.
All right, everybody, take care, and we will see you on the next one.
Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewsyou.com.